Alright, another episode of the Middle-Aged Metalhead. Welcome. And this might be the last one for the year. Maybe I'll get one more in before the week is over. And yeah, since there are so many listicles going on YouTube, I figured I may as well jump on it. So this is my top 20 metal albums for 2021. And yeah, we'll go through that in a bit. Before that though, 2021 finally ending, and it's been a hell of a year. Something that on the one hand felt like it was going on forever, and at the same time it felt like it was also going by really quickly. In metal we lost two of my all-time favorite vocalists this year. Very tragic news. Eric Wagner from Trouble and Mike Howe from Metal Church, and both gone too soon. And yeah, that was some really sad news. Very tragic. Both men, I think, creatively weren't even close to being done. It felt like they still had a whole lot to offer. They were both singing beautifully, and yeah, just some really sad news. In other news, a whole bunch of legacy bands, I guess you could call them legacy bands, legendary bands released albums. Iron Maiden released their most boring album yet with Senjutsu. God, that was ridiculous. Just not a bad album, just really boring. And what, close to 90 minutes, if not more of it. So that was quite a task to sit through. Carcass released one of the most pointless albums of the year. It sounded like Torn Arteries, sounded like leftovers from Heartwork and Swan Song, and all put together, and yeah, just utterly pointless. Then Dark Throne's Eternal Hails, without making any dad jokes or puns, this was probably the laziest that Dark Throne have ever sounded. It was like just doing the absolute minimum that they could with the songs, and yeah, just a really lazy album by their standards. But then also I wasn't really expecting a lot from any of these bands, so I can't really say that I was disappointed by any of them. And Exodus and Flotsam and Jetsam both released new albums, and both were too long, just too long. It's like with a lot of these older bands, they need someone in the studio to tell them to edit themselves, right? I don't think they have that. And Zetro from Exodus is, well, he's not sounding any better, let me put it that way. He seems to gradually be sounding worse and worse. But yeah, all of these albums seem to have been quite popular with a lot of people, so who knows, maybe I'm just in the minority here. And yeah, maybe I'm just wrong. And listen to a whole lot of music this year. I think one of the benefits of working from home is that when I wasn't on calls and I was actually working, I could yeah, plug in and listen to music as I worked, which was pretty good. And I think I listened to close to about 200-ish new metal albums. Well, not new metal, but new albums that came out this year, which was yeah, a hell of a lot for me, by my usual standards anyway. 186 albums to be precise, and not a lot that was, awesome. In fact, not even a lot that I would consider physically buying. And I think, yeah, actually not a lot at all. About 20 of those is what I would consider buying, have bought. Some are already here, some are on the way, some I will be buying. And yeah, this is the 20 that really stuck with me through the year. So at number 20, the new album from Mark Riddick, Fetid Zombie. Mark Riddick, of course, a legendary artist for death metal bands, and generally just a legendary artist in the metal scene. And Fetid Zombie's been his one-man death metal act or project, if you would. and released their new album this year called Transmutations on Transcending Obscurity, and it was really, really good. Now, this one caught me by surprise. I'd heard some of Fetid Zombie earlier, but nothing that ever really stuck with me. But this album, it's like old school death metal meets heavy metal. There's some thrashy bits. There's some proper Iron Maiden, Merciful Fate type guitar playing happening. There's some terrific leads. And there's also some 90s goth metal things happening with a female vocalist. And altogether, I know that sounds like a horrible mishmash, but it works. Transmutations from Fetid Zombie at number 20, Transcending Obscurity, check that one out. At number 19, we've got, this is a band I spoke about in my half-year review, Cryptosis. Their debut album, Bionic Swarm, on Century Media. Just really, really good technical thrash metal. They know how to write great songs, they know how to keep it to the point, and really punchy stuff with a lot of catchy grooves, and yeah, very memorable album overall. So Cryptosis, Bionic Swarm at number 19. Number 18, a death metal debut from Turkey, Diabolizer, or Diabolizer, however you want to say it. The word is not coming out of my mouth right now, but Khalkedonian Death is the name of the album. On I think that's out on Saco on Ojo, which is the name of the record label. Really, really good stuff. I think it's got one guy from Hyperdontia, it's got a few people from Engulfed, based out of Turkey. Really heavy pounding death metal. This was some really good stuff. At number 17 from Italy, another debut, this time Death Doom. This one's called Burial, and yeah, this is supremely heavy Death Doom. I mean, I was hooked onto this thing. I know through the year, Wormed has been getting a lot of press for their Death Doom attack on their new album, but this one just smokes it. I mean, really, really good stuff. The album's out on Everlasting Spew, and I don't see a lot of people talking about it, so check this one out. Burial, the album is called Inner Gateways to the Slumbering Equilibrium. There are a few more words in the title which I forget now, so just search for Inner Gateways on whichever streaming platform you prefer. The band is called Burial, and yeah, it's just a really, really good slice of Death Doom. Next up at number 16, we've got Aeon coming back after a good 7-8 years, I think. When was it that Aeon's Black came out? But this new one called God Ends Here is another really masterclass in riff-based death metal. They have a slight symphonic edge to them this time around, or maybe they always did. I'm not too sure, because I never went back to Aeon's Black and heard it again when this new one came out. So yeah, maybe they always did it, but this sounds really good. It is just some fun death metal. That's what I'd never gets too cavernous or trying to be old school or anything. These guys know how to riff, and they do it really, really well. At number 15, Cannibal Corpse, Violence Unimagined. I'd spoken about this also in my half-yearly review. It's fallen a few places from top 10 down to 15, but it's still just a really fun death metal album. Probably the most fun I've had with a Cannibal Corpse album in a long time. Yeah, and maybe it's having Eric Rutan in the band that's made such a big difference, but it is just a lot of fun. At number 14, another death metal debut. This one's called Sijjin out of Germany. A couple of guys from Necros Christos, and the album is called Sumerian Promises. Very Morbid Angel inspired, I would think. Great riffs, really good grooves, some thrashy elements to it as well, and yeah, I would think Aeon, Cannibal Corpse, Sejin, they all have a sort of similarity to them in that they are very riff based and they're all very memorable. You could club all three of these albums together, actually, come to think of it, at 16, 15, 14 in the list, and yeah, they would all work really well. Might be a bit of overkill if you were to listen to all three albums back to back, but yeah, Sejin, Sumerian Promises from Sepulchral Voice. This is another label that's quite difficult to source. They don't really seem to have a distro, and I think they are shop links to High Roller Records in Germany, who don't ship to India anymore. Yay! So yeah, let's see what happens with Sijjin, but a very promising beginning. At number 13, we've got Whaleburner. I think this is their fifth full length. It's called Lurkers in the Capsule of Skull. And, well, you could call it weird and dissonant and angular and whatever you want, but essentially it's not as inaccessible as it sounds on first listen. Once you get the hang of it, what's happening here is essentially blackened death metal, maybe some early Morbid Angel, well actually maybe some later Formulas era Morbid Angel as well, and there is a fair bit of melody, there is a fair bit of chaos in the presentation as well, but it all comes together very nicely. Probably their finest album yet. It's out on Transcending Obscurity. If you like a band like Imperial Triumphant, you'll probably like Whaleburner. And yeah, Lurkers in the Capsule of Skull, it's an album that you should check out. Challenging extreme metal and definitely worth your time. At number 12, we've got Anatomia, their fourth full length, Corporeal Torment. Out on, I think it's out on Saco and Ojo for the vinyl, Dark Descent for the CD or something like that. But yeah, fourth full length album from this Japanese death doom band, and they've gone in, well, I'm not sure if I can say they've gone into a more extreme direction, but I guess they have, because if you like the death doom stuff, you may not like this too much, because this at times borders on drone. It's still incredibly heavy, it's still doom, but it has a droney, almost ambient feel to it at times. It's not as immediate as the earlier albums, especially the last couple of albums, I'd say. And if you've ever heard this Japanese band called Corrupted, imagine a death doom version of Corrupted, and that would come close to what Anatomia are doing right now. It's a very, very good album, Corporeal Torment. It took me a while to get into this one, but yeah, it's really stuck. So at number 12, is it? Yeah, it's at number 12, Anatomia, Corporeal Torment. Check that one out if you haven't. It is pretty good. Rounding out the first half of the list, from Norway, technical death metal band Diskord, their third album, and that one's called Degenerations. Another album from Transcending Obscurity. This is just mad technical death metal. It's again, on first listen, much like Veilburner, it sounds very chaotic, but as you sit and spend some time with it, you find that all the music comes together quite nicely. So overall, yeah, that is my 20 to 11, 10 albums there. And yeah, let's move on to the top 10.